What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with NIO, Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's going on with the economic calendar moving forward, what's going on with other factors, and what you should be watching for as time progresses. But before I break down double this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. Firstly, I am not a financial planner. Make sure you take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull and deposit $500, you are guaranteed 20 free stocks, and the offer ends very soon in just about 1 day. Anyways, for NIO, I just wanted to break down something very important. NIO is on a bit of a downtrend, and we have this gap to fall all the way down to the lower fours, and I do see a risk with that potentially coming up very soon. However, with NIO dropping the way it's been dropping, I do see some potential for a nice falling wedge that's forming, and this could lead to a big shift in the price action, but I'm not really ready for a bounce yet, so I still think that there could be some short-term downside before we get any sort of big bounce. But let me just call out that we have some very important data coming out for the next 1.5 weeks, which is going to have a big effect on NIO, so I want to break that down. First, let's talk about this. So as you guys know, NIO has announced that in Hamburg, they've opened on July 20th. That's actually very important. The NIO house is opened over there. That's inviting everyone to experience this new chapter of NIO's history as they're continuing to expand in other European countries. That is absolutely incredible news for them. On top of all of this, I just want to say that there's more data coming out, at least for the next week. We had the PMI report that came out. This basically gave us more insights on how things were looking. Kind of so overall. The market kind of traded flat as we saw a very, very interesting amount of price action. But for other things, I just want to make it very clear that we had other pieces of news coming out, like Bowman giving a speech, lots of manufacturing numbers. For Wednesday, we also happen to have, our bill auctions. Thursdays kind of minor, and then Fridays when we have the PCE data report, that's also going to be very serious. On top of all of this, I want to call out that we have very, very important earnings coming out. We have FedEx coming out by Tuesday, and by Thursday we have Nike announcing its earnings as well. That's going to be very important, at least for these stocks, and I can't wait to see what this leads to. On top of all of this, I also wanted to mention that NIO is talking about how it's very confident about its affordable Firefly EVs. They're going to be very, very competitive despite all the European tariffs that are continuing to rise, and they're very confident in its development and its growth. So I'm very excited about that. I can't wait to see what NIO announces. It's also going to be priced between $13,000 and about $27,000, which is not bad whatsoever. With more tariffs, it's going to be more expensive, but like I said before, guys, it's going to be fine. They are very confident that they're going to dominate the market over there, and they have a lot of potential, at least moving forward. So that's very important. I'm very excited to see what else ends up getting announced. So that's also very, very pivotal for how they're going to continue to move. There's also news coming out that volume was at about 22 million. This is once again a little bit below average. So we're getting very, very flat volume, very sideways price action. And the short volume is also kind of down right here at the 40% area. On top of all this, I just wanted to mention that Bank of America Securities is once again in a neutral rating right now. There's not really much happening with that. They're giving NIO that rating. The price price ratio is also dipping a bit as we are starting to show more and more signs of slowing down. And also in terms of seasonality, I want to make it very clear that for now we're actually seeing a little bit of a shift. We tend to see more green now on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Other days tend to be more quiet. We also tend to see more seasonality and more green around noon and 1 p.m. So make sure you watch during those times. I can't wait to see what else is going to be developing. But that's pretty much it, at least for news and data involving NIO. The question is what's going to happen to NIO and the overall market. Well, I just wanted to note that looking at NIO on the 4-hour time frame, we have a nice little downtrend being established, and we still have this gap to fill down here. But notice that NIO keeps on touching this resistance in the low fours and is holding it so far. We have resistance around this 4.37 area. If that breaks, I'll be looking at 4.5. And if we lose support at basically 4.25, we'll be looking for a dip all the way back down. But overall, this is holding up relatively well, and I think that there's a good chance that we could trade here for some time. But then we do have this bearish wedge that's developing. So even if we do trade here for another day or so, there's going to be a risk of us dipping a little lower to the 4.1 area. So this wedge does kind of increase the odds of NIO potentially dipping. So I want to be very careful when it comes to the way it's moving. So I'll be watching that very carefully. We can even draw it out like this so you guys can see how we might just kind of stay here for a little bit longer before we finally start to see a breakdown. But it is looking a little bit more bearish, at least for the time being. Now, on the other hand, we have other stocks like Tesla. Tesla is still building up some momentum. We actually are up to about 183. Remember, Tesla went down to 167 just a couple of days ago. About a week and a half ago, we were all the way down there. And now we're actually we're currently around the 183 area, so we are kind of like on an uptrend on Tesla. We're building some strength, and we also have what appears to be kind of like a cup and handle like structure, so it does look a little bit more bullish, technically speaking, as long as we manage to hold above 178. So there's a good chance that Tesla could try to push higher as we have a nice inverse head and shoulders like structure developing. I'm seeing some upside potential in this stock, in my personal opinion. SPY, on the other hand, is kind of like in the middle. We actually got to close up to about 544.5, and we're going to be looking at 545 as our next key level. We'll be watching to see what SPY does from here. Do we get a big bounce? Because now we have this nice little range that developed on SPY. Will we see a big breakout above 546 to start filling this gap, or do we lose 544 and start dipping? We'll see if we get a little pop and drop, or if we kind of dip from here. I'll be watching that very carefully, so make sure you're very patient in the process. For the QQQ, we're also kind of trading sideways. It's in a range. We have resistance around 483. We have support at 480. We've been stuck for quite some time. I think that there's a good chance we might try to push back up towards 482.5 and just continue to trade sideways. But I do see a bit of a downtrend being established, and I do see a risk of this eventually tipping back down lower. So look for a little pop and drop. That's very, very probable for more potential downside. Nvidia is trying to base at our 1 hour 200 EMA. I wouldn't be surprised if Nvidia gets a little rebound early next week, so maybe the market gets a little rebound. But we could be retesting our 20 EMA, and we'll have to see if we reject here or not. If we lose this, we have another gap to fill all the way down here and a balance all the way down to 122. So I'll be watching to see if Nvidia gets a bounce or not. For Apple's also on a bit of a downtrend. We came down to 207, but I'll be looking for a test of the 200 EMA at 207. If we bounce off this, look for a rebound to 210. If we lose this, we'll be dipping all the way down. So I'll be watching that. There is a risk of this kind of popping and then dropping. I'll be watching for that. For Bitcoin, we're also looking a little bit more bearish. We've been on a bit of a downtrend so far. If we dip a little bit lower, then we could be dipping down towards 63,500. So it's looking a little bit more bearish, and I could see this continuing to fall. For more news, I just wanted to talk about just a few more tickers before I conclude this video. Coinbase, is trying to rebound a little bit. If you look at the 1 hour time frame, I'm going to be looking for a test of 228 next week, and we'll see if you reject or not. Amazon's looking very strong. It's actually forming a nice cup and handle here, and it actually broke out. So it looks to me like it's going to be trying to get up to 190. It looks very bullish so far. But watch this resistance as we get close to 190. It might go a little higher and see if we get a rejection or not. But I think it might go a little higher, but watch some tight resistance as we go up. For Meta, we're on a bit of a downtrend right here. Meta is the one that's continuing to fall. We have resistance currently around this 496 area and also at 500. And then we have support all the way down here at 492. So we'll just have to see how things end up developing. But so far, I see a little bit of a downtrend. Might rebound to retest our 200 EMA, but watch to see if we get a rejection. It's still looking a little bit more bearish to me. And then just for a few more, I'll just do 2 more before I conclude this video, maybe 3 more. Microsoft trying to push higher. We're going to be looking at 450 as resistance. I think we might test this. We'll see if this breaks or not. If we break this, 452 plus is coming. If we lose this, we'll be dipping down to 447, but it looks more bullish to me. For Google is trying to rebound. We broke past 180. Going to be looking for a test of 182.5 next week. It's still looking bullish to me. GameStop and AMC are looking kind of weak. Look for a test of 22 on GameStop. It's still showing some weakness. Failed to get a nice breakout above our resistance. Got to break 28 to be bullish. We haven't done that yet, so we're still bearish. Same thing with AMC. We're on a bit of a downtrend right here. I still see this gap to get filled, so I think we're going to be dipping all the way down to 4.36. So it's looking a bit more bearish in my personal opinion. That being said, that is it for the video. Thank you all so much for listening. NIO is still looking a little bit more bearish, but we will see how it's affected by the big catalysts that are coming out. So I'll be patient and we'll see how it goes. With that being said, I thank you all for listening. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys very soon on Sunday. I'll be taking a break for Saturday, by the way. See you on Sunday, guys. Thank you for listening, and peace out.